With the success of my last video about Dragon Ball and how you should watch it, I love that it was successful, and it brought something to my attention, something I don't really speak about. Why do people care about sub or dub? Why? This has always eluded me. For the longest time, everybody's always cared about sub or dub, and it's so weird to me because you're not watching the show in that same way. Like, why do you care? And don't get me wrong, you can list off your reasons like, oh, it's more accurate, it's all this, it's all that. At the end of the day, you're not the one watching it, so why do you care? Maybe I'm different because for me as a kid, I started watching stuff in dub. Here's exactly what happened back in 2010 when I started watching anime. I type in a show and I'll put dub at the end. It'd be Bleach dub, Naruto dub, One Piece dub, Flamereka dub, Yu Yu Hakusho dub. It doesn't matter what it is, it'd be dub. And if it wasn't dub, I just wouldn't watch it.
If you don't get that bullshit out of my face, bitch.
So for me, I have a tolerance. I don't mind them at all. In fact, I'll watch an anime in dub just because I feel like it. And the only reason I even switched over to sub is because I believe I caught up on One Piece and they're at the time skip. And the only way I could continue One Piece is with a sub. So I ended up watching it in Japanese. And after that, I started watching a lot of things in Japanese simply because of the fact that everything comes out in Japanese first typically. And now my preference is to watch it in Japanese because I've watched more Japanese stuff than English stuff. But I'm telling you right now, I truly don't care how you watch it. For me, if I suggest an anime to you, I really don't care what language you watch it in. Like, don't get me wrong, I give vocal performances. Like, people won't be down in the comments saying vocal performance this, they didn't hit it like that, mistranslation this, mistranslation that. For me, dubs nowadays, they ain't that bad. Like, they be acting like, people be acting like they're not cooking. They start crucifying people for what? I just don't get it. Like, for me, nobody was breathing down my neck telling me to watch dub or sub, because for me, in fact, I've said this before, I was the one who went out and watched anime. It wasn't like somebody showed me something and they're like, oh, you should watch this, now you should watch this. No, a lot of this was just me. So I didn't have anybody breathing down my neck telling me, oh, you shouldn't watch this and that. Because at the end of the day, what sleep should I lose because you're watching the show in English or whatever language you want and not your preferred one? This goes for almost any dubbing. I truly don't know how people get to the point where they're getting angry, typing up words saying dub, sub this, oh, sub so bad, dub so bad. Though I'm going to be fairly honest with you right now, I rarely see dub people saying subs bad. It's just like a preference thing. A lot of people, like, keep in mind here, anything you see online, they talk about a 90% chance is not that serious in real life. And sub and dub, well, I'm sure there's people like that. There's obviously is. Nobody gonna be sitting in your face saying you should watch it in the original language because of this, that, and the third. Like, you realize how you sound trying to force somebody to watch it in whatever language you want. I watch things in sub because that's just my preference now, And don't get me started. I remember I was watching Steins Gate. I watched Steins Gate in dub, and it reminded me that people be like, watch sub for English. I was like, English? What's that? And it's when like Japanese people speak English, and it's like, it sounds like Japanese people speaking English. So it sounds pretty bad. Well, bad, quote unquote, but it's really just like, how would they sound? Like, they're trying their best.
Hey, master. I am math scientist. It's so cool. Son of a bitch.
I mean, they're not native English speakers. And hot take here, English is not enough for me to do that. Because 90% of the time, an anime is not going to get me to laugh. I've seen so many anime at this point where like 99% of the jokes, I know what's going to happen. It's really just about how they're writing and how they're performing them. Steins Gate is great in dub. People will say sub, and I'm sure that's great too, because I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great series. Like, you should watch it. But in dub, I'm telling you right now, it's just as good. And even if it sounds like I'm so passionate about this, I'm only passionate about people not caring about it. I don't care that you watch sub. I really don't. I don't care that you watch dub. The whole point of this, why do you care? Like look inwards, man. When I suggest a show, I just want you to watch the show. I'm not telling you to watch it the way I watched it, because man, if you don't enjoy things the way I do, it doesn't matter. Like, watch it in sub or don't watch it at all. Do you think that's really gonna give them to watch? And don't get me wrong, there'll be mistranslations, because like I was saying dub before, like some dubs they do be botching it. Because like I was saying it down in the comments in that Dragon Ball video, if you watch the Dragon Ball dub, which I watched, I don't mind it, but I do know the faults in it. If you watch the dub, Oolong sounds like a 40-year-old man. Now, don't get me wrong, Oolong do some odd stuff. But one of the biggest problems about this is, I guarantee he wouldn't be getting slandered nearly as much as if he wasn't sound like a 40-year-old man. That man's supposed to be like 8 years old, like a little kid, which makes sense. It's a bunch of kids in that story. Why does Oolong sound like a 40-year-old man? It's a bunch of teenagers and little children. Oolong, he does not fit. I know somebody's responsible to be like, it's gonna be solved if you just read the manga. And I'm telling you right now, people saying to read the manga, hey, I'll read the manga. Reading manga, you gotta understand, if you're suggesting to somebody, especially suggesting to somebody who doesn't really watch a lot of anime, you're not gonna get them to read the manga 99% of the time. Reading a manga, for most people, like some people I'm sure are open to it, reading a manga is like you're closer to a veteran anime watcher if you're reading manga. Most people who don't watch anime, they want to see things animated. They're not trying to just imagine what happens. I don't care how good the storyboarding is. Most people want to see it in color and seeing what's happening. And I still want to see it like that too. A manga can be just as good as an anime for me, and a lot of times it's better. And you only realize that a lot of times after you've watched a lot of anime and you're like, you know what, I actually want to catch up. If an anime is so good, it pushes you to read the manga, if you get what I mean. Like, that's pretty much what's happened to me, and I just started reading random manga. If you want somebody to get into what you're doing, anime wise, you gotta lead them into it easy. My brother, he watches Demon Slayer in dub, and once again, I have no problem with dub. He's made it known that he only watches things in English. Some people make it sound like watching things in English is like the worst thing they've ever heard. You're being dramatic. I'm not even hating on people who are directly in the comments of that little Dragon Ball video, but it did remind me that people be taking it way too serious. Like look at how you sound. Like, at the end of the day, watch what you want to watch, man. And this is everybody watching it. Watch what you want to watch. If you want to watch the Studio Ghibli movies and dub, if you want to watch them in sub, if you want to watch them in Taiwanese, I truly implore you to. If that's what you prefer, do it. If whatever makes it sound good to you, do it. And my brother, he loves Demon Slayer. He loves a strong word, I'm sure he said, but he likes him some Demon Slayer. A lot of stuff that you seem to care about, like the language and all this, mistranslation this, mistranslation that, a lot of people don't care about that. And while it is important, of course, at the end of the day, anime, manga, it's all for enjoyment. It's all for enjoyment. It's all entertainment. If the person's entertained, why do you really care? It's done its job. Thank you for watching, man. Subscribe. Why do they care, man? Like, I just don't get it. Like.